To be honest with you guys, the major obstacle to the mirrors had less to do with the molybdenum and silicon layers, though still tricky. The pioneering deposition work was already getting close to the maximum theoretical limit by the early 1990s, and various X-ray telescopes were already using it with acceptable parameters. What was harder was polishing the substrate to the proper flatness, a challenge enhanced by the fact that zero-dur glass ceramics are not suitable for polishing, and that the mirrors are not simple spheres. They exhibit many different surfaces to achieve their optical purposes. So, to the existing polishing steps, Zeiss added another subtractive process, ion beam figuring. Ion beam figuring is where we accelerate the ions of inner gases like argon towards the mirror surface. Ion impacts cause atoms on the surface to sputter off into the void, essentially letting us polish the surface layer atom by atom. And throughout this process, you're doing metrology. You cannot fix what you cannot see. Sub-nanometer metrology was a second breakthrough to help make this mirror possible. Throughout the years, ASML and Zeiss showed wavefront errors on the optics can be broken down into three categories. How wide is the error? Here's the because that determines first effect is low spatial frequency ripples. These are rather large aberration errors in the optics, as in these ripples are spaced out, crest to crest, by over a millimeter. These can cause something kind of like astigmatism. The light falls on an entirely different location than where it is supposed to be. Then there are in-spatial frequency ripples. These errors are These errors do not affect the quality, instead they reduce the reflectivity of the mirrors by scattering light out of the illuminated field. These type errors seriously affect the system's throughput. 1 angstrom of high spatial frequency roughness loses 1% of reflectivity. Spread that across 6 mirrors, that is a 6% loss in reflectivity. Controlling all three is essential for performance, but ASML and Zeiss have largely focused on the mid-spatial frequency roughness errors, and they've done a good job of killing those. In 2005, the mirrors showed early optics and working through RMS, MSFR, wavefront errors, and a number of described height. Introduced a sizable reduction. Now we're using DNA with the Starlight because Zeiss for unlabeled charts. Thanks. That's all what they want us to know. Before we end, again, I want to thank Patrick Nolo and UV Tech for guidance on this video. Any errors in this video are mine and my own. The interesting thing is just how little drama there was in introducing these deviations. No eureka moment rippling through the whole industry, just a steady march of progress over the years. As early as 2005, the outfit demo, people were getting confident that Zeiss was going to get there. And they did, by 2012. But even once the optics were ready, UV still could not go into production because the light source was putting out no power whatsoever. And that turned out to be the showstopper and would remain so for many more years. Alright everyone, that's it for tonight. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, sign up for Patreon. We'll see you next time.
Now when we get home, you gonna take a nap.
Oh my God, damn, why that boy bald? Why he bald? He bald like you.
Stop it, okay?
Is that Caillou?
What?
That's Caillou. Down, watch him on the TV sometime.
Oh, you stop
But that boy, he bald with no eyebrow. He looked like the skeleton Christmas man's son.
That boy got cancer.
Cancer? Is that why he got a balloon machine? He a magician, huh? Make it a balloon animal. Do it, Professor Xavier.
You need that thing to live.
So he dying? No, wait, no. You dying?
No, hey, no. I don't
You
know.
gonna die?
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
No,
My daddy said you about to die.
I say, hey,
God don't love you. He wants you back early.
I'm so sorry.
Daddy, is he Voldemort?
What? Stop.
Is he gonna make us sick too?
No,
Mr.
stop.
Voldemort, please don't make us skinwalker people like you.
Now.
Nice to be here. I am Julie Kim. I'm a married woman now. I never wanted to be married. I always thought marriage was like this archaic institution all about the control and possession of another person. And then met my husband, fell in love, and I was like, yeah, I can totally own this. Yes. Why not? We're having a good time. We had a baby. She's a half Asian baby. I'm the Asian one, in case you're stupid. I have a white husband, sort of. He's non-practicing Italian. So basically white. I have a white husband, which you knew because I said I have a half Asian baby, not a half Asian, half something else interesting baby. You know what I mean? I said what the main ingredient is, okay? Like if your friend told you that they were gonna go get an ice cream cone and the flavor was chocolate twist, how many of you would wonder, ooh, I wonder what that other mystery flavor is? Dying to know, I wonder, is it matcha? Ooh, maybe mango? Maybe some exotic flavor they discovered on vacation and wanted to bring home to meet their parents? I don't know, right? He doesn't mind these jokes. We have a lot of sense of humor between us, and our relationship is based on love and understanding and trust that he's gonna age a lot worse than me, all right? Oh yeah. And some of it's just like regular dude stuff. Like the guy does not take care of his skin, okay? Yeah, when I met him, I first went to his place, I looked around, and I thought somebody had robbed only his bathroom. Yeah. I was like, where's all your stuff? And he says, what? That's my shampoo. Just one bottle of shampoo. Yeah. Oh, and a single bar of soap that he would transfer from the sink to the shower. And then. So it's gonna be great as long as he keeps doing that and I keep doing what I'm doing, which is what a lot of Asian people do. We age very slowly. But this is how it happens. We age extremely slowly for a very long time, and then all of a sudden, one day at 90, we look like a dead turtle. I know, it's coming. And then we live another 30 years, okay? I honestly feel a little bit weird talking about race so much. I'm not used to it. I'm also uncomfortable with the labels that we use and how we use them. For instance, the term people of color. People of color is a term used to describe people who are not white. But most people are not white. Shouldn't we call white people people of no color? Anyone? Yeah? Okay. Yes. All right. As usual, not everybody, but that's okay. Again, I don't love the labels. They're also changing all the time. Now we actually use a different term. We say BIPOC. You know that one? BIPOC. Black, indigenous, and other people of color. The Asian is silent. I'm gonna let that go. This is not a TED Talk. Like, I'm okay. I'm okay with it. And truthfully, I'm fortunate that in my life I have not had a single traumatic incident that was race related. I'm I mean, a lot of microaggressions, so many, and a lot of things that are just annoying, like people just coming into my day to ask me questions or telling me things that, you know, are only for their own indulgence. Here's an example. Men of all races love to tell me, we're not already talking about it, they love to tell me that their girlfriend or wife is Asian. And my reaction is always, no thank you to whatever this is. I don't want, I never want to know, okay? I never want to know. Now I just feel sorry for some women I don't know, you know what I mean? That's bad for my day, you know? And here's something that happened. An old Scottish lady that I wish I didn't know said to me one day, she said, Shirley, your parents are from Korea. I've always wondered, Korean food, is that just like Chinese food? Yeah, and I said, no, but I've always wondered, Scottish food, is that like garbage? Oh my God, and of course I mean no offense to any garbage if you're here. I'm so sorry. All right, I'm Julie Kim, thank you so much.
Okay, seriously, why are there like two driving schools literally right next to each other? There's like 3 of these, okay? It makes no sense. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm back here, okay? About a week and a half ago, I made a video about like this crazy Giza pyramid conspiracy. So for anybody that doesn't know right now, this is the Giza pyramids, okay? Like the 3 pyramids of Giza. And recently there's a bit of a conspiracy finding potentially that maybe, just maybe, there's an underground city far below that may lead to an actual super ancient civilization. Now, what is the evidence for this, ladies and gentlemen? Well, the evidence for this is a group of researchers who have published some of their crazy findings. And crazy indeed, because if this is true, this could absolutely shake up the entirety of history as we know. Egyptology could be in question. Now, since then, I've been basically seeing a bunch of TikToks constantly posting shit like this. And you might be like, whoa, this is crazy. Did we actually go to the bottom of these pyramids and find some crazy stuff like this? No, ladies and gentlemen, we did not, okay? If you're looking very carefully at this is what we call AI-generated video, all right? And it's gotten so good to the point that I wouldn't be surprised if somebody, most notably an older person in your family, probably sat down and maybe if they saw like 3 seconds of this, they were like, whoa, this might actually be real. But it really isn't. No scientist went this deep into it. In fact, if you look very closely into any of these AI videos, I'm sure you'll find a lot of things that just don't make any sense. For instance, why did the ancient people that created this not realize that basic symmetry hasn't matched? Why do these pillars look really fucked up and out of place and not symmetrical at all? I would have a lot of questions from an elder civilization. Although I do have to ask, where the hell did the ancient civilization put recessed lighting into the pyramids? But you know what? Obviously, all of this is a joke aside. I want to dig even deeper into this and find out exactly what was going on. So, according to the Tribune, the Express Tribune, I believe this is a Pakistani newspaper, another development in Giza pyramid mystery. New evidence could reshape history as we know it. So the Italian researchers claim that
thank you, Cheese. I appreciate it. I watch pretty much all videos at 2 times speed or faster. Also listen to podcasts at 2 times speed or faster. Just helps you get a lot done, and it causes me to focus on only the important parts. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. I usually ask people when I cook on Saturdays, even though I'm not cooking right now, what part of the world are you coming from, and what's your favorite food to cook and or eat? Of course, you don't have to answer those questions because your safety is always important, but I'm always interested in learning about new cultures and languages and new foods. If you want to answer, you can. I'm glad that you're also being busy and productive, especially on the weekend.
We're not in fact traditional slaves. Some of them may have been, slaves if you were, under a prison contract. But then again, have times really changed since then, to be honest? No, a lot of these people were skilled laborers, people who were actually paid for their work, and of course conscripts who may or may not have been possibly forced into it. But there's actually some archaeological evidence. For instance, if you're looking at this right over here, this is the Wadi al-Jarf papyrus. Now this is probably just hieroglyphics to you, but some of this does actually contain what I believe to be the diary of many overseers involved into it. So at least it serves as a way to show people that there was some planning, there was some actual understanding of, hey, this is how we're gonna get these things built. This is not just slaves going in. We've got food records. We've got apparently what appears to be like villages for these people, complex systems. It is in fact what appears to be just one of the oldest construction jobs. So I couldn't dig up a pay stub for you guys, but what I showed you may be the closest thing to like a pay stub you could see, okay, or at least some understanding of building a giant fucking triangle that's supposed to house the dead. So on like conspiracy side of YouTube, there's a video that I found like 4 days ago, like 118 views. Okay, now this is a side of YouTube where like you really have to dig into the trenches to find stuff. But first things first, I wanted to uncover if this was actually like filmed anywhere. Like, was this an actual area that we could have gone to just to understand like was this ever actually pretended, right? That's the question that I have to ask. So one of the things I wanted to ask, obviously to myself when researching this, right? In the last video, I did pull up an actual report itself of the actual research here, and that report wasn't exactly clearly released, meaning that nobody could confirm the methodologies used by these people to uncover these underground structures were actually real. But it turns out, according to people researching this, according to the actual presentation, one of the things that was did these researchers present these findings? So beginning on March 15th to the 16th, there was at the Artemide Commerce Center in Bologna, however it's pronounced, please correct me if I'm wrong. There was an event titled Giza La Piramide de la Porta del Tempo, where basically you had 3 doctors, you had which yes, that sounds like it's from The Sopranos, and I know people question me about it. I want to mention that for the meme here. You had Filippo Biondi, okay, these were people that we saw in a previous report as well. And you also had Armando May, and they discussed that they used this synthetic aperture radar technology to investigate these underground Giza complexes. And so when you actually look at people researching this, you see that it's apparently actually being connected.
So I do make a lot of Indian food.
So this actually appears to be something that has happened. And of course, this is multiple hours of breakdown of, again,
a lot of simmering sauces just because they freeze very well. So usually on Saturday, what I do is I cook. And so I am a variety streamer, but literally a variety of streams. I don't play games as often, but I stream myself gardening or walking my cat or cooking or cleaning or studying, coding, pretty much just whatever I feel like doing at the time. The only consistent schedule I have is on Saturdays at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, because I usually meal prep on Saturdays. But I didn't sleep too well. Also, this is food from meal prep from last week. So I meal prep food and then freeze it. That way I have a variety of stuff to eat, and that way when I'm hungry, I don't have to get up and cook. I can just go reheat something that I've already made that's frozen. I have a friend who's in Berlin and a friend that's in Karlsruhe. I've never been to Germany myself. My wife has. I do want to go to Frankfurt. I hear nice things about Frankfurt. But yeah.
Technological like comparison that I can
probably
make.
is
Kind of like look at Wi-Fi or something, right? Or Bluetooth,
life.
wireless signal on your phone. Generally, when you're looking at things like drywall, right? You
And
might
it's
be able
not
to
hard to
access
do.
between rooms with relative ease. But
Which is
when you start
great.
adding in concrete and you start adding in more thicker materials, that wireless signal becomes
And
a lot more difficult to penetrate. The more thicker.
sometimes when I'm
materials,
streaming
there's some
and I'm
materials that
cooking,
signals just cannot bypass.
I fail.
Even though you think that technically
I've had
it
to
is. And it's the same with
start
the
over a couple of
technology
times
being
on
used
stream
for
before,
because it
where it's
wasn't
like I
pure
started doing
digital,
something, it
it
didn't work out, or I burned it, or something of that sort, and start over again. You know, it's an experience.
Some of these locations has me wondering too, because nothing out of SAR I was able to even research or understand for this video.
But
I've researched a fair bit.
always be proud of yourself that you've achieved something, even if it doesn't turn out right. You've tried, and now you know another way not to do it. Right? I tell people, failure is not bad. Failing is a good thing, because you're learning. Right? You're learning how to not do things, and you're learning where you can possibly change things, especially if you're not sure. Don't be afraid to fail.
And generally speaking, it feels like these
Failure is how we learn. Failure is how we get better.
Oh my God, Ubisoft must have Ubisoft's cooking. Right? Maybe Ubisoft Montreal knows what's up. Maybe they know about the old society that we don't. And yeah, they're basically trying to prove a mythological society actually true in this regard. So what happened to the society back in the day? Obviously, they were apparently flooded, right? So May says that the notion that a civilization limited to rudimentary tools such as wooden mallets and copper chisels implements seemingly inadequate for such monumental tasks in hard stone could have achieved this level of engineering. Mastery demands a more robust and scientifically sound explanation than the often cited and frankly unconvincing theory of water-soaked wooden wedges. So this guy believes that there has to be something more technologically aligned. And there are actual
That is an amazing way to look at life.
no, there's actual proof you could build a pyramid with things that were a lot inferior to the technology.
Life does go on. Things do get better.
For instance,
It takes time,
okay, this is actually utter garbage.
but things do get better. That's a very good way of looking at it. I have yet to actually go to, we say soccer, but a football match in Europe. But I would love to see it just because it's a different culture there than it is here with soccer. So I live in the greater Seattle area. We have the MLS League. So we have the Seattle Sounders, and they're good. It's just going to the MLS game is not the same as going to, like, you know, a FIFA game or something of that sort. You just don't have the spirit of soccer, or the enjoyment of soccer is just not as big here. Like, the people who are into soccer love it, and I played soccer as a kid, but it's just not that popular here, unfortunately, because it's a much easier game to get into than American football. As long as you have a field, an empty field, and something round, you can start working on your fundamentals of soccer, football. Yeah, if I'm ever in the area, then I'll definitely give it a try. Okay, so that's clean, that's clean. I don't know what she's doing with that, but once I get this area clean, then I can sweep and then mop, and the kitchen should be taken care of, and then later on I'll go attack that area.
It's more unity fans in England, America and Australia, here in Germany, especially in Frankfurt, the lifestyle, tradition and city culture. The people literally live the club.
I see, okay. It's like, so I've had I hosted an exchange student from Brazil, and his local club, I actually have one of the football jerseys. Same thing, he's like, people give a lot of crap to that team because they're not that good in comparison to the other teams, but the team is so ingrained into the city life, and they, like, you know, everyone knows someone who's part of the team or works for the team and stuff like that. Like, it's a lifestyle. It's like, they're not the best, they're not the worst, but they're all people who are part of the city, right? From the city. So it's not like, oh, we pay for these, you know, high grade players to come in and be on our team. Everyone on the team
But of course, going
is from the city and lives in the city, right? And so it's like they're part of the lifestyle, the culture of the city. When you talk about the team, you're talking about his city. Like everybody knows that. And so they give them crap for being not the best team, but they still support them because they're regular people who are on the team. It's like basically like being volunteers for a volunteer firefighter service or something like that. They're all part of the team. They're local people who live in your neighborhood and stuff like that. I really like that. Really thought that was really cool. And they're really not that bad. They just don't have like star players like Lionel Messi or something like that. But you got to pay a lot of money to get those people to come over to your city to be on your team.
Who's making one of the biggest sort of stinks about this, right? Basically decrying this underground Giza pyramid.
By the way, the girl stopped making eggs for like 4 days. So I'm down to how many eggs? We've got 12 eggs here. And then I think this is almost full, so this is a dozen and a half. Yeah, so got 21 eggs here. I can still afford a car here in the US before the tariffs fully kick in. This is a down payment on a car. But yeah, Goldie just laid an egg yesterday. And I was like, homegirl, y'all have been like 4 days delinquent. What's going on? But the weather's been pretty hot, so anytime the weather really changes, they always stop laying for like that adjustment period.
If I am totally wrong about this, and there is like a old civilization,
Starting to lose focus.
I'd be so happy to make that correction video because at least at that point,
So tired. So tired.
There's a lot of clickbait these days.
Okay.
For instance, I read this article the other day.
Right, so this stuff is cracked with medicines.
That's great. There's no way that's real, but that's why. So I actually pulled out the CIA report.
Boy, that's crazy.
No, it's not exactly a CIA report. It's a CIA cataloging. A Canadian news site talking about literally this. The file contains many documentary photographs,
You know what?
but also testimonies by
Caffeine
experts
gum.
who the event.
That will
One
help.
CIA representative refers to the case as a
That's
picture
what's
on the part of extraterrestrial creatures. A picture that makes one's blood freeze. According to the KGB materials, a quite low-flying spaceship in the shape of a saucer appeared above a military unit that was conducting routine training maneuvers. For unknown reasons, someone unexpectedly launched a surface-to-air missile and hit the UFO. It fell to Earth. Fucking A's came out. It is stated to be testimonies by the two soldiers who remained alive that, after freezing themselves from the debris, the aliens came close together and then merged into a single object that acquired a spherical shape that all against the biggest sharply and then became brilliant white. In a few seconds, the spheres grew much bigger and exploded by flaring up with an extremely bright light. Yeah, the aliens just fucking flashbanged you to death. Crazy shit. Now, of course, none of this is an actual CIA report. It's just the CIA looking through the Canadian Weekly News and writing. That's it. So again, sometimes you just have to look at the facts for what they really are instead of just fucking believing it. But sometimes when I look into things like this, the bigger story is always archaeologists, bro. Like, Jesus Christ. Every single professional field has an element of DNA. Sometimes it just takes a fat Indian guy to, like, parse it. So, yes, none of this has been proven. You don't have to worry about some crazy 30,000-year-old society. If you like to stop, please like, comment, subscribe. Just like,
Ooh, Toyota Soar.
Japan,
GT.
This one here, second generation from 1986. Bought from auction here in Japan, export over to the USA, which is over to Tacoma. 134,230 kilometers on this
Tacoma,
one.
USA.
Wow, what a cool vehicle to take a look at in the year 2025. This thing is such a time capsule of time. Toyota was the leader
Great
of
car.
the game. Now, this one here has the Supra engine in it.
Great
So,
car.
if you don't know, it's basically like a gentleman's version of the Supra. It's a two-door coupe, but instead of being so much like a Grand Tour, it's more like a Grand Tour in a tuxedo. And so the 7M turbo engine, that's a 3-liter single turbo. I think it puts out somewhere around 260-ish horsepower, maybe 250.
260.
Sure. We'll take a look at the condition of it
Technically
before we
270.
send this one off to the USA. And look at this. This is second generation. They still have this little double hinge thing that the 30 series got. In case you didn't know, the Soar became the SC in North America. So the third generation Soar, the SC300, was sold in North America. Have a quick listen to the engine. And we sold a number of these, but not so many recently. Now, 1986 is very old, and so once the cars get this old, it's fewer and further between for the good ones. And this one, pretty good, all things considered. It has a few problems. Of course, anything from 1986 is going to have a few problems. Especially this was the era when you started getting a little bit more complicated, especially for the Japanese manufacturers were getting electronic systems and whatnot. I'm going to show you some of the stuff in the interior. It's very cool. I believe that this version, the Soar's version of the engine, maybe looks a little bit different from the Super one. We call having like a chrome plate there that says intercooler turbo on the Supra. I could be wrong about that. Honestly, most of the Mark III Supras that we're exporting are going to be the 2J engine version. Not too many of these with the 7M engine. The 3-liter engine was more like a North American engine, honestly. The cool little sticker here says it's turbocharged, so make damn sure that you're changing the oil every 5,000 kilometers. And then the oil on this one is leaking. We knew that because the auction sheet mentioned it, but it was leaking a lot. I'm not sure exactly where. This one's going to be heading over to a shop before it's exported, so that gets repaired. But let me just lower this. The steps are saggy, by the way. The oil in it actually looks fairly fresh, but it made these 2 oil leaks when it came in. It was sitting here idle for a little bit and threw out that much oil. So yes,
Yeah.
repaired.
Whatever, it's a drain.
Also, it has a Thames light on. More on that in just a sec. And what great proportions. The car is fairly small, maybe a little bit smaller than a Mark III Supra, which, when it was the new and modern Toyota, it did look big, but nowadays cars have grown a lot. So with this very low hood line, It's very cool to see nowadays.
Love the old
Different design from
Japanese
little
cars.
vehicle that, you know, everything kind of looks like a CRV.
Because they're like,
So the auction inspection sheet here, let's quickly take a look. It's a 1986
they look like
historic
practical
Calibur
cars,
engine.
and they look like
It's
papacharis.
leather.
They don't
Also
look like
has
what they are, a
didn't
lot
know
of them.
clear bag. Oh, they've got one with two
They
speed
made it
levers.
like,
Look at
well, this
134,
thing has
230
some
kilometers.
get up and go.
Microscopic considering the age of the vehicle and how reliable those engines are. You know, people bag on the 7M a little bit because they're trying to get more power. It can be a little bit more tricky to get more power than 3-liter Toyota engines like the 2J. It's still a fantastic engine, especially in stock form. So here's this engine oil leak, and around the engine possible oil leaks as well. Steering wheel is wrinkled and ripped. Interior liner is dirty. Hood damper does more. Underside surface rust. Cosity. I don't know what cosity means. Underside surface rust. Something.
Remind me, Chad, I need to get my international driver's license. I need to put in my paperwork for it so I can have it by the time I go to Japan in June.
Or if you're hitting the brake, a certain amount, it'll stiffen up the front end so it doesn't nosedive. If you're turning corners a lot, it's going to stiffen the suspension. This sort of thing. It was quite advanced in the 80s. This might have been one of the first cars that had it. I think it was somewhere around 84 or so when it first came in. The brake light is on. Unfortunately, it might be a little bit of a struggle to figure out, maybe not so much figure out to get the parts for something this old in order to repair it. So you might have to just take. Honestly, the suspension feels great, and it is air suspension on this. I didn't even know until today you can get air suspension on the 20 series source,
Yes.
so it's very cool. But it could be a bit of a mystery for that one. Anyway, exterior has some paint fade, very scratches and dents. And looking at the diagram here, we have paint fade, paint troubles, crack, and some scratches on the front bumper. Lots of paint cracks on the hood, windshield rock chip, AU1, AU1, A1, AU1. None of that is really substantial, but the sides have some as well. Just like they said here, exterior has silver sections paint faded. Consider the exterior great in my opinion. The bottom section tone pearl and gold. The bottom section should probably be repainted as with the hood. You might want to go for the paint so everything matches really well, but I would say that, you know, 1986, I was 4 years old when somebody was ripping around in this, and that's a long time for a car to be alive, and it's remarkably clean considering the age of it. Not even considering the age, it's just a clean car. So I always really liked the side profile of these, very long hood here, the small cabin, the low windows, very unique driving position compared to a modern car, and then the small wheels on the big sidewall tires, because that's how you rolled in the 1980s. Big taillights gave it an opulent look, and the Soar and the Supra were all about having the badges in the taillights. So you can see here it says GT Limited, no mention of the turbo, and then Toyota Soar over here in the taillight. Stock exhaust, stock suspension, no stock interior, rear wiper. Take a look at this, air suspension. And digital TV antenna system, etched right, not etched, but included directly in the window. This is your antenna in the window in 1986. I don't think there are any other cars from 1986 that had window-mounted antennas. That didn't really become a thing until like the early 2000s, honestly. And then being able to watch the TV in your car, like catching the TV off the airwaves, man, Toyota was living in the future. I heard somebody on the internet, it was probably on Reddit, said Toyota has been living in the year 2000 since the year 1980. And living here in Japan, it seems like that's the truth. It is kind of, you know, growing up, Japan was so far ahead of everyone else technologically. It doesn't seem like they made a ton of progress since then.
Want to see us having fun in Japan? Go check out our new channel. Link in the description.
Okay, so the headlights, take a look at this. One of the first cars that had this. It has a clear plastic. I know there was a car in like a French car in the 70s that had this, but you didn't see this a lot until recently. Plastic lens with the glass headlights set in behind it. And then look at this, not faded, even though it's plastic. Just made cars better back then. The front bumper has some paint cracks around this area, some scuffs down there, and I'm totally digging the chin spoiler with the two massive ducts here on the front. Those ducts are functional ducts for your intercooler. If you take a look in here,
Sorry.
you can see the intercooler.
All right.
Continue,
Continue, Anthony.
Continue. Or their logo. You can see the ducts with the paint cracks on the hood. I'll just zoom in so that you can see that. Hopefully I can get a focus. And yeah, the whole hood's going to need repainted in order to fix that. Hidden wipers. Again, not a 1980s thing. In the 1980s, every wiper was exposed. Nowadays, a lot of cars have hidden wipers, but was a brand new thing. This is pre-Lexus. And then when all the Lexus cars came out, they had that, like the Soar, the S3, not Soar, pardon me, Celsior/LS 400, and then the ES. What else was the Lexuses that came out at the beginning? The GS and the SC.
GS and
A
SE.
little bit of damage on there, and then take a look at this. This is for the fade in the lower section. It looks like scratches, but it's a fade. And unfortunately, a lot of the gold/silver paints in the 1980s did that, especially Toyotas. We have cracks on the mirror stay right there. And see how it's gone all melty? It's on both sides. It must have been kind of like a softer, more flexible metal, or plastic, pardon me, that they used under there. And it looks like it didn't stand up to time very well. And so dent-wise, we're looking really clean and well enough. Integrated markers into the bumper trim that kind of match it. And 3D taillights. So just like the headlights, it recesses in for the actual lamp and then a plastic cover on top. We used to call those Altezza lights. This is where they started. Maybe not specifically this car, but you know, Toyota was popular for their Altezza that came out in I think 1998.
98.
Here we are nearly 50 years before that. Still have metal door handles. No cars have metal door handles anymore. Cool.
Yeah, I wish they still did, man.
86. The year my grandpa bought a Celica, 1986. Series 1, 6,
The
7, 8.
Celica.
And then my dad bought off my grandpa. That was my car growing up. Let's go to the trunk now. I really don't even have one. Grab that key. So
Where is cover for this guy?
So a full carpeted, including the walls. Looks a little bit higher quality than the trunk is nowadays. Let's put it back in here. And it's fairly large. This is crash protection was an extra thing. Which, don't get me wrong, I don't like running cars. Not very good in an accident, but if you like classic cars, it is a decision a lot of people like to make. You know, get that car from the 1960s. It sucks in a crash, but it is a very special device. Air purifier, cool. And then a carpeted trunk liner there that matches the inside. Let's close this off now. All the door options here from Technics. Okay. And then huge doors. These doors are giant. Look at that. And then unfortunately the door liners have and the dashboard have deteriorated. We've got some bubbling here. And then it looks like the sun kind of deteriorated it on the top, and especially closer to the dashboard. It has this almost flocked type feel to it. Like it's no longer smooth. Back here, you can tell it's all one piece. Smoother here, and then a little bit rougher up here. This switch, same switch as the Celica. Same thing as the Toyota clocks, they're all the same. An old school style power window where you actuate this up and down for the window, or you can auto by pressing this down. Okay, I'm sure they have those as well. go. Yes, factory optional Technics audio. So cool.
Nice.
So, have a look at the interior now. And a very cool place to have been in 1986. Steering wheel didn't handle life very well. It's made of real leather, so it can be restored through probably with the car this special, and the steering wheel is special. You want a specialist to do that for you? Take a look at this. Steering wheel controls for your AC. You can do recirculating or fresh. And the temperature, because it's climate control temperature. Let me 1986 here.
That's cool.
Volume, station.
Japan was so ahead of everybody back then.
The original steering wheel. It's really big compared to your standard steering wheel nowadays, but that's just how cars used to be. People were used to steering wheels that size. It wasn't long before this that many cars were available without power steering. Look at that. It electronically comes down. Just want to show you the gauge set here. So it is very cool. So you see you have a full digital tachometer, your speed there in the center. You also have power and econ mode, the mileage, the turbo lamp, and then TEMS here. It's a hard, soft, or regular. I'm not sure what the AD is. It might be a rudimentary form of traction control. I don't know. Somebody else probably knows that. I didn't like the beeping. It's a bit long. Pardon me. But I'll show you this. Here's the controls for the AC. It's an LCD screen. Back when we used to like paint the LCD is like the old Game & Watch type LCDs or Game Boy type LCDs. Take a look. You press the AC button. Maybe that's not the right button. Oh yeah, aircon and audio. And then it changes. Now you've got the audio controls. And then this is a touchscreen. Look. So cool. Oh my god, so cool. Doesn't smell
Back in the
dashboard,
80s.
as you can see, it's kind of like feels like a pretend suede. It's a little bit worn out in some places. Door over there, a few bubbles in some places. And then the screen down here.
Still a badass car.
Oops. Take a look at that. System check. ESC, ECT, CFI. And then there's the TEMS warning. Oh, it says the battery's low. So what does this say? Leo Stato. I don't know what Leo Start is. That one's power. TEMS. NIMBY. Maintenance and set. And cassette there. Okay, suspension height control, as far as I can tell, it will work. Look at this. This would have been the optional TV that you can watch. Has its own remote control. And that's from factory. It slots in right there.
Yeah.
And then lumbar control and side bolstering, both electronic and both work. Air purifier here, off, auto, low, and high. Okay. And full carpeting on your transmission tunnel. That's shag carpet. And pretty decent condition. You know, floor mats a little on the dirty side, but whatever. Seats honestly not bad. They're leather seats. You can see there a little bit of cracking in the side bolster there. And a couple of tears right here and right here. You just get out of the way of this giant door so that I can show you the seats. Japan didn't want to sell this car outside of the Japanese market. I'm sure they could have made a killing on something like this in North America, but you don't sell as many models. It seems like competition was super fierce in Japan, 70s and 80s, with the car makers, and so they were always trying to one up one another, which you're going to spend a lot of money doing that. Because these cars in North America, without having all these cool expensive features, you must be laughing. So it is very, very interesting. Just take a look at something like this. Back in the heyday of Japanese cars. Okay, we don't have much else to say about this one. Hope you enjoyed the video. This one's a little bit longer than the regular ones, but unique and special car, and I really think it's worth taking the extra time. So if you enjoyed that, thanks so much for watching, and have a nice day.
Sadly, today I've been looking at math on top of the fact that yesterday, did you know TikTok was supposed to be banned yesterday? No one told me that. No one woke me up and informed me on the news that TikTok was supposed to be banned yesterday. I've stopped caring about the TikTok ban overall. I just don't care anymore. I really don't. I've now cultivated a good enough thing here on YouTube where I don't really have to care about the TikTok ban in its totality. But I've discovered that yesterday it was supposed to be banned and nobody talked about it. And the fact of the matter is that no one cared. No one did a rally. We gotta save TikTok. I think people think TikTok isn't even gonna. No one cares. They just want TikTok to
Save
celebrate
the
that, right?
tickety talk.
No one gives a dang about it because there's so much other garbage going on within the grand confines of the world. I've been doing math today. Did you know I did math today? I just woke up. I'm very tired still. I've been doing math. Fun, intricate, detailed math. And I hate the fact that I have to do math today because what I discover here is that this equation is here. Now, this may make no sense for any gobbledygook. This just makes no sense to you, right? Perfect. So this is very important to even factor this in. This guy who has the super check mark, for being a part of the a verified account of the White House. This guy's very important. He's with Trump. He's a cool guy. He's very important. I don't know much about him because I don't care about him. All I know is that he's associated with Linda McMahon. As I said, McMahon, the wife of Vince McMahon, who's also in the U.S. It's a whole mess. I'm not going to talk about that. What I've discovered is that these fake tariff rates, and I was confused what was going on here. I said fake tariff rates. I didn't know what was going on. And he said, no, we literally calculated tariff and non-tariff barriers. So he posted this equation. I'm thinking to myself, okay, at least he's showing the math. Turns out this is nonsense. This is nonsense because you may not know this, and I hate doing math. I have a business technology degree. As soon as I saw this, I was like, okay, that's interesting. What are these values? Do we have a way to determine the values? So I looked at the entire document, and they found the values are 4 and 1/4. Now, you don't even have to be a tax expert. You don't even have to be a math expert. So that 4 times 1/4, you do 1/4 4 times, you get 1. So if you times a number by itself, these numbers don't matter at all. They don't, because they gave the rates right here. Parameter selection. It was set at 4, and then the electricity price, the other one was set at 0.25. You just got to 1. All you did was get to 1. That's what you could have easily. You didn't even have to put these two parts of the equation. All to prove that you didn't do exactly what the original poster said you did. All this was just to say, nah, I didn't do this. When in reality, this is exactly what he did. This person, James, said, yeah, you did. I'm gonna tell you exactly what you did. And then the person here said, nah, let me show you what I did. And then everybody was like, that's exactly what he said. That's exactly what he said. There's no universe. He just did that exact thing. That's exactly what happened. I'm so confused. What do you mean? You didn't change anything. This is the same exact thing. And he's like, yeah, it may have been. Anyways, and I was confused because I've been looking at this, trying to figure out what in God's name this person was trying to prove the entire time. Nothing. And so I've been looking at these tax rates and stuff like that, just figuring out how much we're going to get screwed over in life and how much I'm going to get destroyed in the coming years, figuring out what's going on over the next 10 years if I'm completely destroyed. Just trying to figure out what's going on in life. That's all I'm trying to figure out. And then I discovered Geiger Capital. This is the funniest thing I've ever seen. No one other than fairly stupid partisans on the left thinks Trump is truly going to implement 20% tariffs on everything across the board. So this is really funny. This was 11/9/2024, and Trump had been saying that he's going to put tariffs on everything. And Geiger Capital here said, nah, Trump is it's like a metaphor.
It's a metaphor. He has always tried to do everything he said he was going to do, and when it doesn't work, he says, I was just joking. Whenever it doesn't work, he just says, I'm joking. When it does work, he says, I know this happened. And then he says, I won't delete this tweet because I'm a man of honor, but yes, I was wrong on the tariffs in November. He has indeed put blanket tariffs in every country. Trump 2.0 is very different. And then afterwards on stage, he just goes in destroying others and saying tariffs are stupid. I don't know what's going on. This guy's like a prolific right-winger. He always is talking about like, yeah, the lefties are crazy and things like that. I love this guy. He's a psychopath. I'm happy he's standing on business though. Most people they'll backpedal or at least try to think the garbage is good, but he's deeply standing on business. He's standing on business. He says, I'm a man of honor. I'm just gonna say what I said. I'm not gonna back down from what I said. So this is important to me. All this is very important to me because it's at least with Geiger Capital, the right people on the right discovering that Trump is dangerous, and it led me to believe that, or at least led people to believe that, wow, maybe all right wingers are bad. I know that. I know not all right wingers are bad. I'm aware of this. I don't know why this is a new revelation. A lot of people on the right don't like Trump. They just don't like the left. This is a very distinct thing. They didn't enjoy Trump, especially during the first term, but they definitely don't want a lefty in their office. So they just voted for Trump because that was the option. Because the Trump people, the Trump cult, let's call it that, the Trump religion, has so many people that are deeply, deeply in the narrative of Trump is the only way forward. He's going to change and reshape America. He's going to make and reshape the world. He reminds me of Terrence Howard. Now, you guys probably don't know about Terrence Howard. This is very important. People love and deeply want Terrence Howard to be strong. This is important. You know Terrence Howard 1, the first thing is 1 times 1. Terrence Howard proves that 1 times 1 equals 2. It's a whole thing. And people wanted him to be correct. As a matter of fact, I remember this so deeply, where people were like, oh yeah, this is important. People, we gotta understand what's going on here. This is super important. So, this is cool. If we look at Terrence Howard on the Joe Rogan podcast, this is super cool. If you look up Terrence Howard on the Joe Rogan podcast, he's going crazy sicko mode, talking about he has this new math and understanding how the world works. And you see he has a very high like ratio. The dislikes came in later, but everybody was saying that, oh, he's smart. If Cat Williams and Terrence Howard stare at each other and nod, it's like everybody was saying that he was just so smart and all these things. It was nuts because it was crazy. The longest let him cook, they kicked him out of Iron because he knows how to build the real arc reactor. And I was thinking, oh, this is just a goofball. This is nuts. This whole thing was crazy. This whole thing was nuts. People were saying that Terrence Howard was smart. They were saying he was a genius. If you go to actual Terrence Howard things, right? If you go to actual Terrence Howard, you would discover we can go to 1 times 1 Oxford. This one right here. If we go here, we see him giving like his gobbledygook. He does it to Oxford, right? 7 years ago, people were saying he was super smart. Barely any dislikes, by the way, right? Comes in, and then, not everybody, but a lot of people were saying a month ago, everything changed. Everybody changed it to a month ago. But when this first came out, everyone was on Terrence Howard's side. Everyone. And this is what was going on with Donald Trump right now. In the beginning, everybody was like, oh yeah, this is fine. But later we're discovering, well, not me, I've always known. People are discovering that, man, maybe he's a little bit nuts. Maybe a little bit crazy. Maybe it doesn't make a whole bunch of sense. And it's so goofy. It's so goofy to see people do this later. To backpedal now and say, he's actually doing what he said. Was he not supposed to? Was he not supposed to? Was he supposed to not do that? I'm so confused. Look how good my hairline is, guys. It's really good. It's really sad. It's super sad to see that. Anyways, I was just doing math today. I wanted to make this video real fast because I've been baffled by everything. So sorry I released so many videos. I think it's like my 4th video today. Sorry about that, guys. Have a lovely day. Bye.
Another day on the grind. Guess what, guys? So,
Ooh. About to get rear-wheel drive EK.
the famous Challenger killer, Hellcat killer, all motor, is now going full on boost. Javi is taking the seats out, taking everything out, getting a cage in.
Yep, we're finally gonna put the cage in, so we're taking everything out.
Everything out. And guys,
hopefully we can run into the 9 with a 3-car.
we have 3-car, 9s, yeah, right. 9s upside down, 6. So guys, check this out. This built it himself. What the block? Where you got the block on the sleeves?
This that one's made by JVRE. We got the sleeve block.
Yeah, right here.
This computer's not on for the car, by the way. Okay, we just tested it. This is our JVRE block. We just wrap it in 193 to get in it. So it's a 87.5 millimeters wide scope pistons with boost line rods. They got the 625 bolts. Also, the pistons got the upgraded wrist pin. Engine estimated to make between 12 to 15 horse.
Max out.
12, 15.
What, you know what size turbo you're going to run yet? Or?
At the moment, for the first event, we're going to be running my small turbo. I can show it to you guys.
And what's that capable of?
That one, they said it's up to 1,000.
Up to 1,000. Okay, cool. All right. This one?
Got everything for the car.
Small one. What, you just go big. We got a big turbo here.
Yeah, that's a small turbo. Compared to these big guys running 7 seconds, you know, they got 80 millimeters.
Yeah,
It's a small one.
Small one. So probably gonna, so you're gonna shoot for what? 9, 8?
With a street car, street tires, 9.
Wait,
So we're going to still run it in Toyo's 888.
Okay.
So if we run 9 seconds, 888, man, we're fine.
But then after you're definitely gonna upgrade
After that,
different tires.
we're going to put more pipes for the roll cage, and then sky's the limit.
All right.
We're going for the 7s.
7? Nice. And that's gonna be full on drag tires, everything, right?
That's going to be full drag.
Also, guys, he can put together anything basically. So he put together the pistons and the block, and also the train, right? You put together how many trains you put together in your lifetime?
Too many. That's why I went for 4 transmissions already, so we are tired of breaking transmissions. So this is my new latest and greatest edition.
Dog box.
Dog box.
Getting that doggy box. Let's go. Oh, come on. Can you get it without scratching anything?
My dog box transmission.
Here we go, guys. That's the
Powder coated.
nice.
So this one is a BF gear dog box, capable to 1200 horsepower. You know, holding 200 horsepower.
And a transmission like this is like how much you think? Like probably like.
Well, they sell the gears alone. The gears was like $7 grand.
And they put everything together.
Yeah, then we put everything in the case. This one got a weight track, LSD as well.
Oh, nice. Alright, guys. So this is gonna be like a definitely a serious go.
Yeah, we were just doing I just put it together just to get the measurements of the shims. So now we gotta put the right shims and finally close the trend. Here goes top off.
Super nice. Weight trap right there. Big deal, boy. What you're looking at, guys, right now is $7 grand, right? 7,000.
Just for these ones. It comes with this. It comes with the final drive. And this, because the gears are bigger, so they send me this one. Okay. So basically, this they send it to you for 7 grand. Don't come with the bearings.
Everything coming out, stripping. And the Valtech's coming out. We're in Fuel Tech now.
I'll take out.
That's how you do it, guys. Ooga. Make sure you can't really go back and do nothing, but look, you got everything out. Getting this thing started in now. Let's go.
Beautiful. I'm not gonna turn because being a dog, you don't stay until you put the piece out.
Okay.
You gotta modify this one.
Oh, you did it, or you
Yeah, you gotta cut it like that. It's not gonna clear the top.
Okay, there we go. Man, you need to train so much, you know everything, right? You can put a paddle boat in the box, you can put it out.
That's what I got right there. Paddle bolt.
Anyway, you know his stuff. Man, you gotta leave him out.
Paddle bolts. That's it. No, we gotta find a 10.
A 10, 8, 10. Can't find the 10.
Basically go round.
Find the 10. You guys stay tuned. I'm gonna show you how the scar getting put back together bit by bit, stage by stage, all the way to 5.5 second run, right? Saying 5.5?
Whew, man, you know what? Right now, I just want to go home. A long day.
Long day. Call us midnight ravers. So check it out, guys. Getting everything out. Doing all the grinding down so that the stage can run here good. And all this time, have you thought, oh, this is gonna be my baby. This is gonna be my sweet car, all theme. Nope. No, full on drag. Overnight, guys. Overnight. You know, waste no time, right?
Okay.
Overnight. So we're still clean now.
Let's
I mean,
get
it's gonna be
this
clean
wiped
outside,
off so I can
not
sweep.
all cleaned up.
And we'll get floor mopped.
That's always my
Then
first
I
time.
will call it.
Pushing. Don't listen to the naysayers. Always drive life.
This stuff is all going in the composter.
Oh shit. CRV diff is off now. Upgrading to the jack diff. Explosion. Explosion.
Like, wait, how do you have explosion?
We didn't see. Let's pause the video. We didn't see nothing. No, all dripping from the diff. So don't worry about that, man. Watch too much. Screenshot. Zoom. Damn, boy. Let me see. Let me see the side. Oh man. Let me see.
Damn.
Damn, we know what you like.
Damn, boy.
But that's over. Return it. That's how you got it.
Amazon?
Yeah. Amazon? Oh, you can. Oh, you can return it for sure.
I know, yeah, just put it back in there.
Yeah, so start returning gift, please.
Just the other day, and this is how it came. This is supposed to be like this. Please don't.
Let's say, what about the bottom came dirty too?
Oh, wait, I get it. It's only quick.
Yeah, that's weird, bro.
No,
That mug's gonna smell like diff fluid like forever. One time, diff fluid, our transmission, spilled on the jeans. Brendan watched that thing probably like a million. Go with it, dude.
I can't get the smell on it.
Alright,
Run
guys,
the
so
plot.
as you guys know, this is Javi's project. Over 1,000 horsepower. He wants to go 7 seconds, which he can. He's a good builder, and he's upgrading the guy for the CRV diff off. Oh, we got things in the house. We're gonna be doing a jag diff.
So we're gonna go with the jag diff. We're gonna show you guys exactly, you know, if you had our diff mount, if you had our kit already up with the CRV diff, it actually looks promising as far as the dry shaft because it's only like 1.5 inches or something like that difference. But that will be made up with our
The new flange, right?
Yep, the new flange for the diff. So it might be perfect. The only thing you have to do is, because we were trying not to make new mounting brackets, what we might do is we might make new brackets. So let's say if this was over here, right? The new spot, instead of us, you know, moving everything to move this thing over, we might make a new bracket where we just slot it like this.
And then move it back.
Yeah, it's easier to do that. So we're gonna show you how we're gonna go about it. But the first thing, we got the diff off, and then we cut this right here.
Eventually,
Yeah, because
Betsy's going to get
you have to
all-wheel drives.
Like right about here, so it's about an inch. You gotta cut back. Yeah, we're gonna cut it, we're gonna clean it, and we're gonna box it. So we got this thing done, and then we cut off this bar right here.
Bars got cut off.
Got cut off right here.
How's the CRV?
Because the way that it needs, the reason why it needs to be cut off is because on the CRV it's mounted on top. Okay, on this one here it's mounted to the side with a bracket. So when you get the kit, you know, we'll make it. You don't have to get it. You can make your own, but it just makes it a lot easier. So once that thing gets bolted up, we're gonna see exactly how this is gonna go on, and then we'll just weld this. Well, we're gonna tack it, take it back down, then we'll weld it on the ground, and then after that we'll cut it to length, whatever we need to do. That's it for that, and then we'll put it back up here. But we're gonna show you guys what we did. So that was the first thing. Let's go ahead and take the diff off.
Okay.
The CRV diff, which we did. We went ahead and cut this right here off. Okay, and then we went ahead and cut this also.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Alright, guys, so now we're gonna get this jag diff up.
The difference between the CRV diff and the jag diff, even though it fits, rotation is still the same. The jag diff gets mounted upside down to fit under the Hondas because they're made to be all-wheel drive. So you still notch it, or you don't have to notch it. You can just bang the underside of the spare tire well to make it fit. or you can notch it. You don't need as big of a notch as you do for the CRVs, but the Jag diffs are plenty. They're built stronger because they're rear-wheel drive by default. So they'll hold up to punishment if you're going to go like heavy boost, heavy horsepower. I'm going to all-wheel drive Betsy, but I'm going to stick with the wagon because I have a D-series engine in my car. And eventually, once the engine is done, I'm going to electrify it. So it's going to be electrified all-wheel drive still with transmission. So I don't need, if you have an electric engine with enough torque, you don't need a lot of horsepower. But I'm going to do a 400 watt or 400 volt power delivery system in her, so that way I can take advantage of fast charging. So that's down the road after gasoline becomes prohibitively expensive.
Check out, guys. So look how nice this looks. It's not even that low. Some people are saying
It's in her current form right now. She gets between 40 and 60 miles to the gallon,
the tire's gonna be all the way down here.
depending on if it's highway or city.
So yeah, Jag is loading.
On average, she was getting, before I put her up, she was getting about 46 to 48 miles to the gallon. This is doing mixed highway and city. On the highway, definitely getting above 54 miles to the gallon. That got 64, 66 miles to the gallon when I was moving up here. I drove her up here. Yeah, highway driving is where she's better because the revs are super low. Still has low torque, but the lean burn kicks in.
Yep, that's perfect.
Really want to get my car running again. Since it stopped raining, I might go ahead and start working on it today of putting the rear trailing arms in and doing the disc conversion on her. I need to get the all-wheel drive kit from S1 Performance. And I need to take her down to the body shop to get the frame pulled. But I need money, because that money was going to be spent on my car, but instead I had to spend it on school because I got screwed by my employer. They did not pay me out my vacation time, nor my severance pay they were supposed to pay. Then, because Trump got voted in, the NLRB dropped my case because they're anti-union. Woohoo! My company was violating our union contract, and my union was trash.
Actually easier to take this thing down than I can just pick it on the CRV because you have to go
On top.
top.
And for a while, guys, come on, guys, you gotta admit, for a while, you guys are like, is there anything stronger than the CRV? Is there? Here comes the Jag diff. And all you guys going to buy it? I don't think you guys being lazy until somebody did the prices raised up. So go grab your Jag diff, guys. You beg for something stronger than the CRV. Your wagon is so expensive, and here's a solution. Here's a solution, guys. Get a Jag diff, man. Hurry up, man. Stop being lazy, man. You're gonna wake up tomorrow and it's just gonna be for $3 grand. No, not really. There's so much out there, but yeah, it's definitely a good product, guys. So.
Should probably get a Jag diff anyway, just in case, but I wanted to keep it all D series.
Over 400,000.
400,000.
Already approved.
Tag on the road, that's good.
Yep.
No proof you need than that.
Get yourself a Jag diff. Yo, look at me, man. I can do a CRV, but I know I need something stronger. But I ain't got no money from the wagon. Who got money from $3 grand? Crazy? I got myself 2 Jag diff.
Yeah, the wagon.
Just it. Nah,
Wagon I really want because it fits. It fit with
the
the oil or with the gas tank and all that stuff. But
this thing's coming together nice. Yeah, this car will be at Race Horse, guys. So check it out. We'll be putting a roll cage in. It's gonna show you guys see that he changed from the hot tech. He's going to what? Motec, right? No, he's going to fuel tech. Fuel tech, right?
Correct.
Fuel tech.
Silky tech.
Hobby tech. I know for my car, you know I'm going chip P28 with MSD chip. You guys remember that? If you guys don't remember, activating VTEC with an MSD chip. I mean, that mini me. What's going on? So if you guys are doing this, what you recommend? If you guys are doing it in the garage with 4 jack stands and on the bottom,
My life don't do it.
It can be done, but some people just don't have it, and you can, this is how you gotta do it. But if you don't have a jack, well, just make it work. I need to do it.
Oh, like 18 then.
Yeah.
No, this is.
On our back, if we do it on our back now, like some termites, we'll be like, we'll be in the hospital for a week. Like, yo, I need some pill, I some gunge. Just trying to get it perfect right now, right? How's it look on the straightness? I'm turning the light around so I can see. Yep. Next slide, look more.
So you can see we have it all tacked up. We can come back and roll.
Let's get this wipe down.
We just want to check before we go ahead and do the full weld and all that.
That's biting into it. That's getting rid of all that.
Yeah, it looks good.
Roughed.
You can look back here.
Yep, I see. Yep, there it is. All right,
That's
guys.
it. So we'll get this thing welded up, and then we'll continue with the drive shaft once we get the plans in.
Yep, you guys can see the drive shaft going up on the jacket and everything. So guys, another Saturday. Enjoy your weekend. Keep your heads up.
What? I'm getting hungry.
Yep, and eat.
And then we gotta get this thing ready for H-Day.
H-Day.
We'll be,
Yep,
we'll be at
H-Day.
H-Day. So we're just gonna be a spectator watching like this. Man, I wish my car was there.
Everybody's cars. But soon, all our cars will be ready. Don't worry, we're taking our time. All right, guys, like, subscribe.
It's like I the video.
It's been 80 years. It's been like 3 years. All right, guys, next video, you guys will be seeing the drive shaft made up too. The jag diff. So stay tuned for that as we build hobbies, EG, and look out for it in Cali Race Wars also. And see you guys at H-Day.
Never slipping. All right. Four-wheel gripping, son.
This is the Nissan building in Ginza. It's sort of a place to life about American cars in Japan. We had this discussion. I've been listening to the news.
All
All
right.
about tariffs. Been all the news for the last
Sweep.
week or so. We saw it coming too.
Spin them up. And we're done. Now in stream, take a nap, and then wake up and probably do some car stuff maybe.
If you look in Ginza, even right now, it would be hard pressed to
Really
find an American car
been invigorated in the last couple of days to
manufacturers who, I think, market cars in Japan. They stopped doing that
do
in
some stuff
2019. I used
on
to
the
see
car,
cars on the streets in
or at
Tokyo.
least prep
They
stuff.
don't
I know where some of the stuff is.
It's not for the terrorists. It's just, it's a really hard market. This card is one of the reasons why. Japan makes some of the best, the coolest cars in the world. It's a hard market to break into. I think American manufacturers pretty much just gave up on this. There were a lot of reasons why it just couldn't work here. Also, the image of what American cars are to Japanese consumers is completely different. Americans really make great cars in 2025. However, because they haven't actively marketed them for well over a decade now, it feels like the reputation of the American cars are inferior to domestic Japanese cars. So if you buy an American car, you're paying a lot of money for it, and you're not getting great services, and the cars are going to be more expensive. It's the same with Mercedes-Benz here and Audi. European cars, they still market their cars to the Japanese market. They don't even sell that many. I think Audi was saying like they sell like tens of thousands of cars. That's not a lot, but it is to the market because Japanese people buy domestic cars. So it has nothing to do with the tariffs. It has everything to do with they just don't want American cars. Now I went in through an article that was written in 2019 about this. So this is from, I think, CNBC from 2019. I think it was pretty much on par here. Industry observers chalk up the admittedly glaring disparities of the unique characteristics of the Japanese auto market. American firms don't really make cars that suit Japanese tastes. Americans have not invested in a dealership presence in the country, and many Japanese consumers have a persistent, if outdated, idea that American vehicles are unreliable and efficient. This is exactly what I'm talking about here. Roughly 40% of the cars sold in Japan are special cars of extra small cars called K cars. Yes, American cars are too big for the streets here in Tokyo. Japanese don't want cars that have inefficient gas mileage and are just large. But even though Americans have been making really good cars for the last 10, 15 years, or maybe even longer than that, the image and the perception, because they don't market here in Japan, is that they don't. So there's no interest for American cars. They like K cars, which are these really small cars, but very fuel efficient here. Japan is a crowded country, and drivers like the convenience. Japanese cities are a crowded place, they should say, because the countryside, I've been driving there a lot. It's not that bad. The drivers like the convenience and efficiency of small vehicles that are easy to maneuver on narrow streets and fit into tight parking spaces. I can agree with that. That's really on par here. American car makers don't really left Japan entirely in 2017. Japan sold only 700 cars there in 2018. You get the picture here? It has nothing to do with tariffs or the cost. It has everything to do with the American cars and the lack of marketing. If we go back historically to how Japan broke into the United States market, I grew up through that era. It was amazing. The 1980s was an amazing time. Japan knew that the best way for them to grow their economic presence in the United States was through their vehicles that they thought were superior to the American cars, and they went to battle. And business was war here in Japan. An expression, and I know, having gone through Japanese business, it really does mean war here. The marketing on American TV in the 1980s was really strong. I don't know, you guys remember, was Isuzu Dave? The Toyota commercials were very interesting back then. They gave amazing deals, like no interest in financing of cars. They did so many things that American automakers weren't doing to try to get the brand, and build up the brand. Now Toyota is one of the big brands in the United States. And Nissan, the car makers, Honda, huge in America. But American car makers haven't done that. They haven't come into the Japanese market. They haven't marketed. They haven't been on TV. They haven't had advertisements. I've never seen a US car ad, for example. So they tried to market in Japan. This is why. Now,
person out of your brick wall. You're way ahead of me right there. Okay, bingo. What is the market for American cars in Japan in 2025? It's not the Ford, it's not the Chevrolet, it's not the GM car that they're selling in the US because they do that here in Japan and they do it better. According to the Japanese consumer, it's going to be really hard to change that perception. So it might be this, right? The muscle cars.
SUVs.
There's a big
like that.
market for these muscle cars here in Japan. And I, as a kid growing up in this area,
Donks.
like I went to Trans Am when I was in junior high school or high school. I remember I had one friend named Bill. He ended up getting a job instead of doing sports in high school. He ended up buying a Trans Am. It was like the coolest thing in the world to see him driving around with it. Like a 1970s Trans Am, looked like a scene from what was that movie with McConaughey from the 1990s, Dazed and Confused. It was pretty badass car. Pretty badass car. There's a niche market for these kinds of muscle cars, and if you just search on Google, image searches for American Kurama, for example, you get this, which are the old classic cars. This is the image the Japanese have really of American cars. It's the old classic cars from the 1950s, 60s, or really large sports utility vehicles, SUVs. This is the image of the American car the Japanese have, the Cadillac, the luxurious cars from America. There's a niche market for this kind of stuff. So what is the biggest, I was talking with Japanese friends, what was the biggest car brand in Japan right now? And I was surprised by this because I hadn't even considered this, right? I'm not in the market for a car. So I asked, it surprised me. What do you guys think is the biggest, the American car brand that probably has the biggest potential in the Japanese market? Do you guys know?
Heavy.
And I just saw Land Rover go by. I think that's the word. I saw Land Rover go by. I'm looking for a US car. I'm gonna turn around to see a Cadillac or something. Saya got it right. And Tokyo Tenjin probably Tesla as well. Saya has it right. Hummer, I'm not sure about that. I just see an increase in Jeeps. I don't even know what it got like years ago. Jeep is a company that actively markets.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. And you can see Jeep cars. They're in a new niche market, right? The thing is, like, Japan also drives on the other side of the road, so they have to really manufacture the cars in Japan, or make them so that the steering wheel's on the other side. And I just don't know what the quantity they would sell in Japan if it's worth it. That's about $40,000 for that car, which is actually not too bad. That starts at $40,000, 6 million yen. So the Jeep cars, they really do. I'm seeing more the classic Jeep though. I'm seeing that they're selling these particular cars, but I'm seeing like this one is about $38,000 with the yen. The Black Shark. Those are just cool, like niche cars, okay? Nihon in the house, thank you. I might be heading to a vending machine next. But these aren't the ones I see on the street so much. I see the old like Jeep style to it, and the reason why is because that's a market that's into the rugged cars. We have the RAV4, we have a Nissan and Honda rugged car varieties. Suzuki has a miniature like Jeep-like car, which I haven't seen a lot of. If you ever seen the Suzuki car, like this mini one, it's pretty.
The Jimny.
You don't want a RAV4 because you don't want to pay for it, it's cheaper. Suzuki makes a pretty amazing alternative to it. There's a RAV4 right there. Just turn the corner. You can't find, and I'll keep the mic on. I'll keep the picture. It's very hard for Japanese to make that kind of car, and in that case, rugged car. So that would be. I'm gonna go over here. Like these weird niche cars. Fairly good business. I saw that Chevrolet was making bikes back in 2005, 2000, I saw Chevrolet bikes. That was really interesting. I don't know if I almost got one, but I don't know, it's kind of
Tesla.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna get a Hummer, okay? Here's the biggest sport cars that I see coming from to Japan aren't American. What they are Audi, Mercedes-Benz, and especially the G-Wagon because it's like a rugged luxury type of thing that might be a niche market that Japanese cars haven't done a good job at yet. And I've seen both. It's kind of common. I don't know, I would see it here, so it's still you just don't see it. The whole point of this is that in the Japanese market, and to be honest with you, I don't know if it's actually working. Japanese just don't want American cars, so I think that's something that is something that works. I got this from the Patreon that we made. I said no to this question. I don't think the reason why Japanese don't buy American cars is because they know that the market is not here for them. I don't even know if cars from the US to Japan, so we can figure that out. But, rip off the band-aid and very painful way to do it, but I don't think it's yeah. But the fact is the fact. Yeah. And the fact is that when they talk about not having American cars on the road in Japan, you're absolutely right. But the reason is wrong. That doesn't make sense. There.
now and then on the road. I think Peter and I were talking about that. You can see Harley Davidsons every now and then, but there's a niche market for this stuff. Not tariffs, has everything to do with American manufacturers' lack of marketing, American manufacturers' lack of meeting demands of the Japanese market, American manufacturers just not trying at all and thinking that they could sell here in Japan. American companies have a hard time here. American Express has one of the most interesting business stories about business in Japan comes from American Express. They worked their butts off to break into this market and they eventually did. Apple Japan, for example, it's not even an American company here, it's a Japanese company, so they do take orders just like Disney does in Japan for the Disney World, Disneyland, but they do, the price is completely different, meaning it's really affordable for the domestic market, and they don't listen to everything that Disney USA says to them. Because Apple Japan is the same way. They do things because a lot of it works here, but they also do things the Japanese way, because that's the way the market dictates it, and they don't do things an American way. And that's how you do it. You just cannot do things the American way and expect it to be the way the Japanese way. You got to find money, bang on this market in order to make it work. It costs a lot of money, and then you have to see the population declining and the value of the yen. It's a really good market for the country right now. With oil, with the market in Japan compared to the American companies, but we have the market here in Japan even now. I think also, this has to be. Oh, hi. How you doing? So, there's an end here. Japanese market is not 10% of the Japan. Yeah, it's going to hurt the Japanese market. But the market is okay. It's not going to be economic lens right now. Japan, America is the market that everybody wants to buy. It's the market that has the trade deficit. The US is the market that's going to suffer the least. There's going to be an impact. But it's the market that suffers the least. Japan, I think that's suffering very much, I would say, right now. And they have a demographics problem. My biggest fear is my biggest fear right now is these fears of putting geopolitical. So I didn't even know how I feel about it. They're putting a lot of pressure on China right now, and they're at spot, and these fears really put them in a worse spot. And there's different times to be aggressive for them because the demographics getting them to get the one-child policy, the economy is not being growing, a lot of people are upset there. There's a potential for a lot of disruption from different people, although it's hard to do something China. I don't know. But the tariffs hurt China more than the United States, and the southern administration is wrong on that. However, it does put China up against the wall, and if ever there was a time when I'm more worried about conflict, it might be now as a result of it. We'll see what happens. But I don't know. So, the geopolitical aspect of it, the pressure, if you put somebody in the corner, they might not try to get in the corner. So, that's what I worry about. And I don't know the depth of the geopolitical at all, but that's something I worry about. You know what I mean? But the US is a big market. The US is a market everybody wants to be in. The US is a market everybody has to be in. And if they don't have access to the market, they won't be able to try to get access to that market. And it's a big flag. So we'll see how it plays out. It's a long-term problem. Is it bicycle? Is that foreign? Wind has picked up, so we'll see. The spring winds are usually quite strong. So, let's just say very much in the downside right now.
Adventure.
Before we get to that, right here, the heat, saying nothing is ridiculous.
is saying, I bet no top players that make money actually sign the game. 542 points. Now, Black Market, I don't think there's anything crazy to it. That's right there. But others are from Europe. You guys got to find something else to do. So, I mean, yeah, I didn't sign it. Even though I have a lot to say and I'm very opinionated and I wanted to do better, yada, yada, I did not sign it. So one can make the conclusion that maybe we need to sign it as well. Maybe people are listening to this good news just to get more momentum. But at the same time, you can't really, it's not too far-fetched because a lot of people, including me, I mean, very yo, this season 2 is dog shit. So in the end, we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait to see if these pros actually say something about this, like Speed Kicks did. Coming on that other side, people are like, it's not bizarre to want change for a series you love. There has been a lot of frustrations in the last year which the devs teams refuse to listen to. You can't honestly expect the esports guys to do that. If you like the franchise path, that's you, bud, but you can't train people as well. Now, going to the actual site right here, it was posted on, what was that, Art Tekken. You can see like, training is one thing, but doing your part is another story. Here it is right here. Let's say Tekken 8 together. So, to be like, talk good, talk some shit. Their slogan is, let's save it. You know, when you first open up the webpage, so I'm not going to read it all, but a brief summary says, why the boycott? Based on many posts online, I think the has strayed far away from the legacy that made them big. Summarize the major issues in one paragraph. You see right here, says 50-50. Then right here saying, if you're part of the second community and you're fix them, we need to take action. You can't keep playing games you're supporting it. It's time to take a stand. Now right here, you can join the boycott. Players taking a stand for Tekken 8. 2,785. Y'all look, it has their names right here. It has not playing for it. You see the fucking booth. Tekken experience, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 plus years. It has a level, intermediate, high level, tournament level. It's like previously, nah, they already know. This continues. It's a very game. Yeah. Now, people talking about it's in the best state that it's ever have been. We're gonna pick up with Ed Boon right here himself saying, let's get some more fighting games on the most played games list. Damn. So from there he screen retweeting or tweeting right here where it says PlayStation US top 15 games ranked by total weekly active users ending just March 20th this year. You see the source, player engagement tracker, all this other ones, Call of Duty, Grand Theft, and it goes with Roblox. My daughter's on that forever. Down. Yeah, see all the things, right? Continuing on right here. You see right here, 7th place, 8th place, 9th place, 15. It's in 15. Mortal Kombat 1. This includes Call of Duty Warzone. Yeah. Like, you get it, right? This one has almost 4,000 likes. Mortal Kombat is, I guess, in 15 out of all of this, and it's on the most played. So that's Ed Boon basically doing nice flex, right? Being respectable, but also flexing low key. Like, hey, let's get more games on this. Guess what? MK's doing good. We getting all red. It's pretty right now. LGC reacts to this, saying UFC being there or being the only fighting game hurts. Or Sikander responds saying, "What the nonsense? Announce DLC is over with and move on to MK2." Others continuing on saying, "Where's Injustice 3? 15 congrats. I'd play more if everybody wasn't hacking or Fortnite with the MK collab. Put Fortnite in first place." Then I really Fox response to this saying, "I'm being dead serious or dead ass. When I say MK1 isn't the best state yet and it's showing with its community, I legitimately think it's the best modern competitive fighting game out at this moment in its current state. Release, hell no. And I urge folks to try it." So basically, Sonic is saying, in the current state, it is the best modern competitive fighting game. At release, hell no. Not the best, obviously. But right now, like, I urge folks to try it. What the hell is the reality that we're living in right now? Like I said, shit on MK the whole time. Everything thriving, everything new, everything coming out. And now we got questionable shit with Fatal Fury. Like, what the fuck is happening with these characters? Season 2, Tekken, Street Fighter, we just in a fucking desert, right? We got high tournaments and stuff happening right now. But as far as like updates, we are just still waiting in the winds for Capcom wants to give us with some major updates that we're looking for, right? So it seems kind of weird. 2XKO right around the corner, but now because everybody's looking about the removing motion inputs and all this shit, there's a lot of stuff questioned. FTC feeling really weird right about now. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that it's not thriving in its own way, but we're still feeling weird in our own way. And now fucking MK1 just creeping through the shadows. What's now? So now we on the most play. It's in the best state. And boom, low key flexing. What the fuck? What is really happening, y'all? You got others like the saying, let's do yada. Was MK what? Like, you know, because no idea. I got no idea. Those are the buttons. I'm confused at the state of fucking FTC right now. How y'all feel? Let me know. There is one more. Thank you guys for the amazing level. Thank you, man, from the bottom of my heart. It really does mean a lot. I just got to look at some of the comments from yesterday. I just people right here. Congrats on the 70K donating the 10 bones, man. Thank you so much. Continuing on. See other people donating as well, like $5, $10. If I miss y'all, man, please turn to my mind and my man. I'm like comments as fast as I can. Somebody else right here. Who's that? Taekwon 52 ballers says thanks. I was in a dark place and then I found your channel a year ago. I've been watching videos every day since. Happy birthday, OG. Holy shit. I was in a dark place and then I found your channel a year ago. Y'all, It blows me away. It really does. Every time you think, hey, we're just talking about video games and being goofy and reporting the news. Real talk. How they perceive and receive your channel. You don't at all. So when I read stuff like this, y'all, it blesses me so damn much, y'all. Sometimes I literally just, holy shit, this means something. But it actually means something to the people. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you forget that because you just get frustrated and down. So I get all everybody else. You know, Dr. African, my homie, mother, right? He actually left me a message. And he's like, oh, you put me in the birthday, you put me in the thing, you like, you ointments.
So in my opinion, he's too strong, man. What are you talking about?
Really?
I can even oh my god. Niampi is definitely and this guy
We're in front.
Last but not least, I think that's it.
Start with our main story this week, and it concerns an absolute fixation of the world.
Very well.
So, political
Ciao, ciao.
so betrayed.
Bye bye for now.
So, a few things there. First, that's a story about how Leah Thomas prevented